Hi, I'm Izzy Cross and I'm the music producer and event manager for Hampshire Runway. So what inspired me to get into music was I started learning piano at a young age, and from then I just made up songs, and I just wanted to take that to the next level by using a DAW to produce my songs. So for events management, what inspired me to get into that was more of how to combine music and fashion shows, and I just thought I'd do it myself. Hampshire Runway is basically a fashion show to celebrate Hampshire designers. So we've got graduates and current students from the University of Portsmouth. I actually started off by having a Zoom call with each one of them. They told me their concept for their collections. We talked about the music and what kind of vibe they wanted. I just kind of went from there. And once I did that with all the designers, I then sent them a first draft, and I got them to fill out a little feedback form so they can say what they like, what they dislike, and then I sent them the final version. So that's kind of the process. Tsunami featured on Winchester Fashion Week, as well as Hampshire Runway, and that was by the nice favour of Karina Jeffries, who is director of CME Productions. I was inspired by the genre funk, and it uses a lot of synths, heavy 808s, lots of vocal effects. I wanted quite a strong beat and just something quite sounded almost like it could uphold itself in a tsunami. So for Pose, I listened to a lot of Charlie XCX kind of songs, kind of like hyper pop genre, and I wanted that kind of bad bitch kind of vibe, so that's why we chose to do some kind of sassy ad-libs, and we wanted the chorus to be a more like anthem. I specifically included fashion references for the fashion show, so I mentioned stuff like Gucci, the brand, Gigi, the model, and then say Pose several times. For Submerged, I wanted it to be an orchestral track. I've watched a lot of fashion shows where they had it was kind of classy, almost sounded like a whole orchestra. And I worked with the designer, Julia. Her designs are Filipino, so she really wanted to include that. So I included Asian instruments, and that was the instrumentation I used. And then at the start I also included some little sounds of Filipino birds as well, just to really make the environment for the audience. And then I added this drum beat to it was also easier for the models to walk on the runway. Don't blame me, you're not good enough. Don't blame me, you're not good enough. For the song Not Good Enough, I wanted it to be a kind of moody track. It's got its anger as well, and that's because the designer River, her collection is quite grungy in aesthetic, so I thought that would fit well. I used a singer, Ieva, who specifically sounds like Billie Eilish, to get that kind of vibe in there. She has all these effects, such as a tremolo effect in her voice. I got the deep voice in the chorus, particularly in the bridge. It's just her and her voice and the deep voice mixed together. So for the song Lately, I worked with Libby. Her collection is inspired by kind of pop art, and I kind of thought that kind of links to 80s, so I wanted a kind of more modern take on an 80s song. So I took inspiration from The Weeknd, Dua Lipa, and then also for vocals, kind of Daft Punk. So the song Sweet Reminiscing, I wanted a more vintage feel because Bethany's collection is based on a vintage parachute. So for that I had more jazzy vibe, with minimal instrumentation and like softer singing as well. We've got lots and lots of harmonies in there, and it just sounds really like big and reverby and really just nice. And then I put a tape emulation filter on it the whole way through, so it drops out after the first chorus for some of the instruments, but it just gives that kind of crackling vinyl feel. So for the finale piece, Bitter, I wanted a breakup song, but it sounded like it was made into a dance remix. So it is quite sad, but then it gives that almost nostalgic but dancey feel for everyone to clap along to. In the start, I made the lyrics quite reverby and sad, so like they would echo and stuff. It was kind of like a build-up, so if you're in a club, it's like, oh, what's going to happen? And then the beat drops kind of thing. Naturally, the narrative became this kind of love breakup like storyline. Like it starts like all good, hits you like a tsunami, and then you go into it, and then you're submerged by it. So not good enough is like the turning point in the relationship. Something's gone wrong. Lately is like looking back on it, like how's life lately been, and then the end is the breakup and looking back on it and being bitter. So after Hampshire Runway, I'm hoping the dream is to create a fashion show production company or get into an existing one, and hopefully just keep combining music and fashion and events and just keep making shows that inspire and make people create stuff.